Hey guys, welcome back to Palazzo. I'm your host Viraj, and today we are joined by some England fans as well as some neutrals because England have reached the semi-finals of the Euro Cup after a long, long time. I don't know, I can't remember how long. But guys, first of all, welcome you all. I would like to welcome you all. Today we are joined by Jayvardhan, Yash, and me who are diehard England fans, as well as we are joined by two neutrals, Tarun and Amit. So, guys, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, pleasure to be
Yeah,
here.
Thank
thank you
you.
for having
It's a
me.
pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
So, guys, without wasting any more time, let's jump straight to the podcast. Let's talk about this England versus Denmark fixture coming up in the semifinals of the Euros. So, I want to start with the England fans first. So, guys, the England team has experimented a lot, especially if you talk about the last two outings. Like against Germany, they started with a back three, and then again they started with a back four. So we've been seeing these changes quite a lot these days from from the coach of the England football team. So what do you think about this particular matchup? What formation should they choose? Against Denmark, and how should they plan ahead with the match?
Well, I think England have been rotating a lot because they have too much quality in their squad. They have players like Grealish, Sancho, Rashford, Sterling, and they can't fit them all in lineup. So I think this is the reason they have been rotating that much. Southgate has been doing that. But uh, in the next match, it depends. Like what game plan will Southgate go for? Will it be like will he want more dribblers? Like will he want more one-on-one people? Like in before the quarterfinals, he said he wants more dribblers, and that's why he picked Sancho and Mason Mount. Uh, so it depends on the game plan, and they are facing Denmark, who are really high flying right now after the Christian Eriksen thing. So it's going to be a very interesting game.
Right. Jayvardhan, you want to add something on this?
Yeah, I agree with Yash on the part of the quality and depth that they have. However, I do think that England will probably play with a back four instead of five because Denmark is not considered to be one of the best teams. Whereas when they played against Germany, they had to play a back five as a conservative measure of playing against them because of the quality that the German team had. And for that reason, I think they will go with a back four. They will go with an attacking mindset. And because if you watched Denmark versus Czech Republic, you could see that Czech Republic actually dominated the game. However, they did not win it. But I think Denmark were better on counter attacking, and I think that's how it's going to play out.
Right. So I want to turn the attention to neutrals now because we don't have any Denmark fans in the house. So I want to start with Amit and Tarun. So guys, first of all, Denmark has been a surprise package in this Euros competition. They've reached the semi-finals. So what do you think about Denmark? Can they keep this momentum going on in their favor? Will their fairy tale continue, or this time they'll be punished by England?
Uh,
I
yes, please go ahead,
mean,
Amit. Yes, please.
yeah. So yeah, I mean Denmark will surely go as an underdog in this semi-final as well, like the way they have been when they entered the tournament. But I mean, if you really dig deeper, the playing 11 that Denmark has, if you see the players, all those players play in really good teams. I mean, if you start with Mahele, the wing back they have, he plays in Atlanta. Holsberg plays in Tottenham. So the team that they have, the individual players, they really play in good teams and they have vast experience. And as far as the momentum goes into play, I think the elimination of Christian Eriksen, I think it helped them a little bit in the sense that it unified them as a team. Because what happens is when you have a marquee player like Eriksen in the team, the whole play kind of, the ball goes through him. And when you eliminate that player, the team somehow it has to, I mean, it has to adapt as a better fortified team. And that's what we have seen from Denmark. And I mean, if you see the Denmark play, how it progresses, they are hugely reliant on their wing backs. So they are a counter-attacking team. They play a lot like Chelsea. If you see, their formation is the same, 3-4-2-1. So the three center backs, they cover the whole field in the back, and then they attack with the wing backs, and the wing back then involve the front three players. So I think that's what has worked for them. The first match against Finland, I think they played with 4-3-3, which didn't work out pretty well for them. Since then, they have found their formula. I think that's how they will approach England also. And I mean, given that they are an underdog, they will be under less pressure than England will be. And given England are already, I think, did a lot of England fans also thought, like they always do, that England will reach a certain higher stage, and this time they have. So England will be a strong favorite, but yeah, a lot of pressure will also be on them. And the thing with Denmark is they can really hurt if the opposition lacks some focus and concentration. So yeah, Denmark by no means they are a team that you could ignore. They are attacking threat. Hulsberg, which is who is the striker? Dolberg, right?
Dolberg.
Yeah,
Dolberg.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, the guy
Casper
has scored
Dolberg.
three goals, and one. I mean, all the goals have been really well. One was, I think, outside of the box. One was with header. So the guy's a good threat, and England really need to be at their maximum concentration and focus if they have to win the game.
Yeah. So Tarun, you want to
Uh,
add something?
Yeah, to a certain extent, I agree with what Amit said, because see, we have to agree that individually England are a much superior side. They have two quality world-class players in every position, in almost every position. But we have to acknowledge what Denmark have been doing throughout the tournament. After that Christian Eriksen incident, they haven't looked back, and they have adapted to the situation very, very well. Nobody gave them a chance. Nobody gave them a chance to reach the semi-finals. And looking at the past 2018 World Cup, England reached semi-finals and faced Croatia. And in that, I think England were the favorites to reach the final, but it didn't happen. So England fans, I think they should be wary about it, that something similar could happen this time around also. So, and Denmark, I think maybe not that quality, but they still have very good players on the pitch, like Westergaard, and then they have, as Amit said, Mahel, and then Dolberg in the striker role, Martin Braithwaite of Barcelona, etc. So yeah, Denmark do have a good chance, and let's see what happens.
Exactly. I mean, those are some really important points. And now I want to turn the attention towards the England fans. I want to build from this point, where they are saying that England is the favorite to qualify, but they will be under tremendous pressure, no doubt about it. So I want to ask the England fans, like, guys, what should be, the playing 11 according to you for England? Because especially if I talk about the right wing or the CAM positions, because you have so many options out there. You have Sancho, you have Grealish, you have Foden, you have Mount, you have so many options out there. So, what according to you should Southgate do in order to get a perfect playing 11? Because the Denmark guys will be defending a lot, and that will be difficult for England to score goals.
See, Harry Kane has to start for sure. He has found his goal scoring touch again. He is scoring goals. He has scored back to back, I guess, against Germany. He scored one goal, if I'm not wrong, and two last night. Sterling has to start as well. Sterling, I think he will start. He will take the left wing. So that definitely rules out Jack Grealish out of this contention. But if Southgate wants to experiment, he can play Sterling on the right and Grealish on the left, and Luke Shaw in the back with Kyle Walker at wing backs. That can be a pretty interesting attacking lineup to break the heart for fighting Denmark defense. In the cam position, it's actually a very tricky question who should start at cam, because the position hasn't been quite successful. I mean, in terms of assistant goals, it hasn't been really a number 10 for England this competition. Not Mason Mount. Mason Mount hasn't produced anything spectacular like Sterling or Kane. Even Grealish has, I think, performed better than Mason Mount in this tournament. So the number 10 is a tricky position to fill right now. What do you think, Jay? Who should fill number 10?
I think they should go with Mason Mount because I think Grealish has been the super sub for them. He has produced 3 assists from the bench, so I think it's better to keep that momentum going on and picking him from the bench rather than starting him. But one of the major concerns I have is Kyle Walker starting. I don't think Kyle Walker should start ahead of Reece James or Kieran Trippier because I believe his crossing ability just doesn't match either of theirs. So I think I'd go with Trippier, who is a better crosser and who was a phenomenal player for Atletico Madrid in a title-winning season. So I think Trippier should start there, and he has to start a front three of Sterling, Mount, and most probably I really like Jadon Sancho, so I think he should start the same front three with Harry Kane up front.
I have my concern here. I mean, you said that Sterling could start on the right wing, but don't you think that the effect can get nullified? Because if you talk about that Real Madrid is the Chelsea game in the Champions League semi-finals, Vinicius was playing on the right side. His preferred was on the left side. So the team lost and the team couldn't attack that much. And then Sterling, the prolific goal scorer, if you shift him on the right side, if you don't play on his natural position, then I think it can be a big mistake from Southgate.
Well, it's a bit of a gamble, I'd say, but because Sterling, when he used to play in Liverpool, if I'm not wrong, he started his career at right wing, so he is a natural there. But coming back at the Vinicius point, he is a natural on left wing. I totally agree with you. That was a big flop from Zidane to start him on the right in that match. So. But if we look at Sterling, I think he's pretty much competent at both wings, and he's a natural at both wings. But yeah, I agree that the game plan will change, and that can actually be. It's a bit of a gamble. Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble card. If he wants to take the risk, he can.
I mean, yes, too much overthinking can cost the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
or maybe he will stick to his basics.
Yeah, maybe that's right. So coming to England fans now, guys, I want to know that who can be the danger man from Denmark according to you?
I think their left wing back, Mahle, has been excellent throughout this tournament. He has been in contention to be the player of the tournament. He has, I remember there was a counter attack in the second half against Czech Republic where he was one-on-one with the keeper. Although he did not convert it, I think he has been phenomenal, as well as providing an assist for Kasper Dolberg with a phenomenal right foot outside
the
shot.
outside of the boot assist.
I mean, as well as taking into consideration their back four consists of all great players. I think starting with the keeper Kasper Schmeichel, who has been a great leader for them, especially after Christian Eriksen's incident. They have Christensen, Simon Kjær, who plays at AC Milan, and Jan Vestergaard, who also plays in the Premier League. So I think they have a really good experience and a great overall team. Maybe not as much as England, the standout players, but I think they have the overall quality to just have a one-off chance against them.
See, particularly, I won't name any particular player for Denmark who can be a threat. But I have read somewhere that Denmark is the second highest scoring team in the Euro 2020 after Spain.
Yeah, after Spain.
So we cannot like underrate them. They cannot score or something, because on their day they can be very, very dangerous. And as Jayavardhan said in the starting of the video, that they are very, very good in set pieces and set pieces and other like counter attacking football. So England have to be wary about that. They cannot concede easy free kicks in their own half, which can be dangerous for them. And that's all. And Dolberg has been in very, very good form. And Martin Braithwaite, as Barcelona fans already know, he can like chip in with crucial goals, So I think the pressure of semi-final will be equal for both. But Denmark have nothing to lose, I feel. So they have achieved what they had to do. And England, if they go out of the tournament in semi-finals again, and that could be not very good for them. So personally, I feel going into the match, Denmark have to manage the first 20-25 minutes initially. If they can stop England from scoring in those 20-25 minutes, then it can be anyone's game.
Yes. Amit, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, I think a lot will depend on their opponent, that is England, how they approach the game. So if they, I think the formation of England will play a huge role. If they start with four in the back and then the 4-2-3-1 that they started with yesterday, it worked well for against Ukraine, but against Denmark, the team which hugely relies on the wing backs, I think uh, it will it will be a big ask for someone like Sancho and Sterling, because they'll have to fall back if they play 4-2-3-1, and we know that Luke Shaw also likes to venture forward. So I think uh, if England starts with a positive attitude, they will keep the ball, which mostly they will. Denmark will just sit back and they will have their two Braithwaite and um, the other striker. They will open up the outlets in the wing, and Dolberg will be in the middle, and that's they will just play the long ball, and they will try to release the striker behind Harry Maguire or John Stones, and that is one of the avenues. And the next best thing that Denmark have is the set pieces, mainly corner, because we know Vestergaard is very good in the air, and I think Harry Maguire will be given the responsibility to defend against him, and those two options are the I think the opportunities that Denmark will have to score against England, because I don't think they'll have much of the ball. England will dominate in position, and England have really good player like Sancho if he starts, and Sterling, and all they have to do is if not for the individual brilliance, they'll have to just feed the ball to Harry Kane. So, I mean, in terms of keeping the ball, Denmark won't have it, but yeah, in counter attacking, they can really win free kicks and set pieces, and they can hurt England. So, yeah, England need to be really high on their focus and concentration in order for them to win this match, which I feel the chances are more because they haven't conceded a single goal so far in the tournament. And this is, I think this is the first time after Italy in which a team has kept 5 clean sheets in Euro. So it's a big thing that England has already done, and I think they'll continue to do the same if they play the same way defensively that they have done.
Right. We hope that the match will be an excellent encounter. And now let's move to the final part of the podcast. That is the predictions. And I want to start with the England fans. Guys, your prediction one by one. What do you think? Will it finish in 90 minutes, or will it go to the penalties extra time? What's your say?
I think it will finish in 90 minutes. I think it can be. It's going to be a pretty close game. I'll say England will concede this time. It will be 2-1.
And एज अ न्यूट्रल मैं तो यही बोलना चाहूंगा, इंग्लैंड कोई टूर्नामेंट खेले और पेनल्टीज ना हो, दैट इज मींस दैट कैन नॉट बी एक्सपेक्टेड, यू नो. सो मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है पेनल्टीज में जाएगा. इट विल बी आई थिंक अ 1-1 गेम, एंड पेनल्टीज में इट्स एनीबॉडीज, यू नो. पिकफोर्ड इज अ गुड स्टॉप पेनल्टी स्टॉपर, एंड डेनमार्क हो सकता है वो मौका का फायदा उठा ले. So I am predicting penalties, 1-1 penalties, and England will take it from there.
Jayavardhan and Amit?
Yeah, I think it will be 3-1 England. I mean, I think they'll concede, but because they'll start with the back four and then they'll switch to back five in the second half.
I think everyone has said that England will concede a goal, but I think England will once again keep a clean sheet, and I think it will be a very close game. And in the second half, England will score. I think mainly because of the duo Sterling and Kane. Kane will be in the score sheet, so I'm predicting 2-0 to England, and it will be a close match, but the two goals will come late. So yeah, that's England to be in the finals.
Great. Also, as an
Raj,
England supporter, I'd like to predict my scoreline, and I feel it's going to be England 2-1 in the 90 minutes.
Okay.
So
Viraj, if I
it's-
may, I have a question for England fans here. See,
Yeah.
because we are expecting England to go ahead into the finals, and another semi-final is between Italy and Spain.
Spain.
So, who would you want in the finals if England reach? Are you expecting Italy or Spain? What would be your
I
preference?
think Italy deserves it. What have they done since Roberto Mancini came? They were out of the World Cups. They were in the worst phases of football the country was collectively. But the way Mancini caught them up, and I think they're unbeaten since 2018,
Yeah,
and they haven't conceded until last game, which they conceded. I forgot which game. But anyways, I think
they
Italy
have
deserve a place in the
conceded
final.
two goals this time.
Italy beat Belgium. They even beat the dark horses, Turkey, which everyone was saying they're the dark horses before the tournament, and they
But,
beat them so easily in the first match day.
but if you
Yes.
remove the deserving thing, who do you, as an England fan, you want to face? You
Face,
know, I
yeah.
think that will be Spain,
Spain.
right? You can.
Spain, no question. But
Yeah,
want
Spain.
Spain deserves Italy.
Okay.
I think Spain
Sorry?
would be a much more comfortable opponent. That's what I feel.
I
Italy,
would-
because
I
they're
would-
already on a great run.
I would personally
No,
Mancini
want
but-
is
the
destroying
England
the
versus Italy
opponent.
final. I would
So-
personally want the England versus Italy final.
Yeah, if it happens, it's going to be spectacular.
Yes,
It's
yes,
going to be a
Yeah.
spectacular way. But unfortunately, Spinazzola got injured for like 6-7
Yeah,
months.
that was
Yeah.
very,
He's out
very
for
unfortunate. That was very, very unfortunate.
that was a very unfortunate injury. Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining in, and we'll wrap up our podcast now. For all the viewers watching out there, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and follow us everywhere on all the social media platforms, the link of which will be posted in the description box. So with that said, guys, we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank
See
you.
you guys.